Alright, so after 4 videos, this is probably going to be the last video about this project. And today we're going to see the latest modifications and features that you have asked for and I have added. And then at the end, I will just pick some questions that you guys have asked me before and then I will try to answer them. So we're going to start by talking about the API keys. You don't need a .env file. You can just have your API keys in here. And that's not only important if we're running this locally, but also if we are running this on a Docker container, which we are going to see later on. The second thing that I've added is this attended mode. It will allow you to interactively help your scraper to get the right data inside of your website. And that's actually a very good suggestion that I got from you guys. And the last thing that we are going to see is the Docker container. A lot of you have asked about this throughout my videos. So I will show you where you can find the container and how you can run it on your machine. And then of course, I am going to answer some questions at the end that you guys have left me. So let's jump right to it. All right. So first of all, as always, you are going to find this project in automationcampus.com. So here, Scrape Master 4.0, this is where you're going to find the whole code and how to set it up. Or this time, I have actually reshared it on GitHub. I have created a new account because my last account, I simply cannot share anything on it. So I've created a new GitHub. Don't trust them, guys. Maybe they are going to suspend me again. I don't know what's going to happen, but as long as it's up, you can go to GitHub and get it as fast and as easily as possible. Otherwise, it is always going to be accessible in my websites, Scrape Master 4.0, and probably this is going to be the last update of this application. Okay, so let's go back here and let's go back to API keys. So as you can see here, we have 3 API keys that we can give the application. These 3 API keys, the first one is going to work for the first 2 models, the GPT ones. Then the Gemini is going to work for Gemini, Grok is going to work for Grok, and Llama 3.18b. This is where you run your Llama in LM Studio locally, so it does not need an API key. So to test this out, we are going to copy paste one of these API keys. By the way, you can just copy paste one of them. As long as you choose the right model, it is going to work. So here I copy paste Gemini API key and I have chosen Gemini API key. If you want to have the 3 of them in there, you can absolutely do that. And you can always create a .env file inside of your project as long as you are naming them like this: OpenAI API key, Google API key, and Grok API key, and put in the values in here in the .env file. It is going to work. You don't need to copy paste your API keys every time in here. Anyways, here we are going to have Gemini Flash and I am going to scrape data out of Amazon. Let's say, for example, I am going to search for Alexa and I will have a page like this and I want to scrape data out of this page. Let's put our URL in here. Let's enable the scraping. Let's say we want to scrape the name, the rating, the number of reviews, the number of items sold or the number of items bought, the price. That's basically it. So let's have the name, the rating, number of reviews, number of item bought, and lastly the price. And here we are going to launch the scraping. Let's see what's going to happen. And as you can see in here, it has failed. I did not think that this will fail, but this actually would help us demonstrate the second feature, which is the attended mode. So let's enable the attended mode and let's launch it again. Let's see what's going to happen this time. So as you can see here, in this case, we can actually help it. We can go here and then search for Alexa. And then from there, we can just say, resume scraping, and then it will take the page from which we went and scrape all the data from that exact page, not from the page where it has failed. So I did not think I was going to actually show the attended mode at this part. I thought I was going to show the API keys, but as you can see here, this is actually a good use case for using the attended mode, and this is what it has been able to basically scrape. So here we have the name, the number of item bought, the number of reviews, the price, and the rating. Good. So now, as you can see here, we have the data that we want. We can actually enable the pagination if we want to get multiple pages. So let's go ahead and launch the scraper again, just so that we can get the pagination, because I want to show you something before going and showing you where the attended mode really shine. So let's launch the scraper. So let's actually go to the second page, just so that it detects this little argument that we have here. So it becomes easier for it to basically get the pages. So here we have all of this, and these are the pages that we want. Let's go back here and let's resume the scraping. And that's good. We got the URL and we got the pagination. So here, let's say if we go to this page, that's actually really good. We are on the page 6. Anyways, we got the pagination. But what I wanted to show you is, let's say, for example, I want to scrape from these 3 websites at the same time, and I am going to copy paste these websites inside of here. Once you do that, you're not going to be able to do the pagination or the attended mode. because you are going to scrape from multiple websites, and this becomes in a way a scraper at scale, it does not make sense first to do the pagination, because what pagination are you going to scrape from, the first, the second, or the third page? So it does not make sense. Or the attended mode, because if we work with the attended mode, every time it will open the page, it will have to stop, and then you will have to do the action, etc., etc. And that basically makes it very prone to errors. So this is why if you have multiple websites, just make sure that you can actually access the websites, and from there it can only do the scraping. It's not going to do the pagination or the attended mode. You can always go back to the code and change that behavior if it works for you. But for me, I think once you are going to scrape from multiple websites, the only thing that you will be able to do is scraping, because otherwise it's simply going to be very slow. All right, so now let's actually talk about the attended mode. So there are three main use cases where I have been using this attended mode. The first one is when I need to log into some page, meaning that I am going to launch the URL, but I still have to log in to access the data. That's number one. The second is when I need to do some kind of UI interaction. So I need to click on some buttons in order to show the data. And the third use case is when I want to use it as a fallback option, which is what we have just seen with Amazon. So in case that you're not sure that the website that you are going to open is not going to block you, you can use it as a fallback option. And now let's actually go to the example. So here I am at one of my videos, and what I want to do in this case is to get all the comments that I have here, because I want to use these comments so I can get suggestions for my next video. So this is how I actually use this scraper myself. So first of all, we're going to get the URL. Then we are going to paste it in here. Let's make sure that we have our API key already placed. We are going to choose Gemini Flash, which for me is the best one to scrape the data. And then we are going to enable the scraping and get the data. So we're going to start by the name of the person who commented, the comment, the name, the comment, the number of likes, and the reply. So the name, the comment, number of likes, and number of replies. And here I am going to enable the attended mode, and you are going to see why. So let's launch the scraper. Once we launch the scraper, we are going to get this page. And once we open this page, first of all, always with YouTube, you are going to get this before you continue. You are going to have to accept it or reject it, whatever. I accepted it. And then here you have to wait for all of these comments to appear. This is already handled by the application. So even if you don't need the attended mode, it's still going to scrape the comments. But here I need to upload the replies as well. So I need to click on this, and this can't be done by the application. And this is why I've used the attended mode in this case. So I am going to basically have all these replies shown and do some kind of infinite scroll. By the way, the infinite scroll is done inside of the application, so you don't need to do that. But in this case, we have clicks as well. And now we are going to go back to click on resume scraping. And from here, it should be able to get all the data that we have just shown and basically give it to me in a table format that it can just copy paste to ChatGPT in order to get like 3 ideas about what I should cover in the next video. As you can see here, I get the name of the people who have commented, I get the comments, I get the number of likes, and I get the number of replies. So what we are going to do in this case is get this in a JSON format. So let's open it, let's copy it, let's go to ChatGPT, and here I'm gonna tell it, I'm gonna give you a JSON with all the comments on my latest video about a universal web scraper, and I want you to give me 3 suggestions about what I should cover next according to the comments. Here I'm gonna place a JSON. So by far the thing that has been asked the most is integrating llama models, and by the way guys, I've already done that. The video before that was all about integrating llama, so you can go back here, local AI scraper, can I run this locally, and you are going to find it in here. So for the people who are asking about integrating a local model, this has already been done. You just need to watch that video. Handling website scraper blockers. This is what we have just done. If you want to basically do the CAPTCHAs yourself, if the application cannot do the CAPTCHA and you are blocked for some reason, even though that you shouldn't get blocked because I already have integrated user agents. That was one of the suggestions that you guys have given me in my first video. So I've already done that. I've already have a list of user agents. So every time the website does not detect that you are a scraper. So that should not happen. But if it does, that was the attended mode that I've just added. So that was a great suggestion that I've used. And the last thing is the pagination and infinite scroll. Also suggestions that I've added. Okay, so now let's talk about Docker. So I have shared this container with you guys. You're going to find the link in the description below. And here you can download the image and start working with it. I have created another account just to show you how you can work with it. First of all, you need to download Docker Desktop. So make sure that you have Docker Desktop on your machine. Just Google it and install it. Once you do that, open the CMD and you need to run 2 commands. You can actually do it inside of Docker Desktop, but let's just run the CMD. It's better. So open the CMD, and here you will need to pull the image. So Docker pull the name of the user and then the name of the application, scrape master, and then it will pull the last image. And if you go back here, a new image will be added inside of your Docker Desktop. Good. So as you can see here, this is the new image. And now to be able to run it, all you need to do is this command, docker run -b, then the number of the port. I would suggest you say with the same number as me, 8501. So username and then scrape master. This will run it, and here you can click on host and it will open the machine and everything will be run in your container instead of running on your local machine. By the way, the attended mode does not work with Docker, because when you are working with Docker, you are probably running this in a container, in a server. So there is no graphical user interface unless you actually add it yourself. So this is why the attended mode will not work if you're running this on a Docker container. It will always work in the background. So no need to enable the attended mode when you are working with Docker. If you want to use the attended mode, just clone the project through GitHub or create the projects following the steps that I have described in my website. But in Docker mode, the attended mode does not work. The pagination works, the scraping works as well. And by the way, this is why I added the API keys, because if you are working through Docker, either you have to add the arguments of the API keys while you are running the Docker container, or you have to add the env file while also running the Docker container, which is going to make the Docker run command more complicated. Anyways, so this is how to run it through Docker. We can test it if you want to. I can add an API key in here. Let's say I'm going to copy this. I'm going to put it in an OpenAI. I'm going to scrape this website, scrape.me.live, just for that demonstration purposes. So let's paste it in here. Let's enable the scraping. We want to scrape the name and the price, and I'm going to enable the pagination. I'm going to tell it scrape the pages starts 1 and ends at 48. Let's launch the scraper, and if we go to Docker and go to container, we will find that we have a container that is already running. And if we click on view details, here you will find all the details about that specific container and basically what's going on in the backend. And as you can see here, it has been able to scrape the data and the pagination as well. The page has gone from 1 to 48. Okay, so the Docker works. Now let's go back and let's go to Docker. Let's stop our container. As you can see here, it basically have saved the data. This is where I have saved the data, and it gives me everything that happened in the backend. So let's stop this Docker. As you can see here, when we stop it inside of here, it will stop here as well. If you want to stop it from here, just click on Control-C. It should stop it if you are on Windows. Anyway, so this is Docker. Now let's go to the last part where I'm actually gonna go through some of the comments that you guys have left me last time, and I'm going to answer them. So the first comment is Llama locally, as I said, or from Grok. I've already done that. This is already in the application, so you can actually use that. Okay, so maybe a way to circumvent the token issue is to calculate token. So we have a comment here about the tokens. I've actually tried to cut the tokens in half. So if, for example, if we have 200,000 tokens, I'm going to cut the number of the markdowns of the website in half to give the 100,000 tokens at first and then go back and give the second part. But it was really complicated to kind of achieve. And guys, I have a full-time job. I don't take sponsorships for now. And most websites do not include more than 100,000. So it was just not worth the time. This is why I didn't do it. If someone can actually go ahead and add a function that will divide, do the call, and then do the second call, and then concatenate between the two tables or the two JSONs for all of the models, if someone can actually do that, it will be great. Just add it to the GitHub or send it to me. I will see if it works and I will integrate it. Now let's go to Discord and actually answer the questions there. I'm so sorry guys, I have not been active these last few days, actually the last 2 weeks. So this is why I couldn't answer, but most of the time I try to be as active as possible. Here we have a problem with OpenAI. If you find this problem, just import OpenAI. At the start, type in import OpenAI and you will not find this error anymore. So here, just import OpenAI. You will not find this. Just instead of from OpenAI import OpenAI, just import OpenAI. You will not find that problem. If you guys have any problem with the Chrome driver, just go back to one of my videos. I have shown how to download the Chrome driver and then extract it, and then you can actually use it. Just follow the steps in the Automation Campus website and you probably are going to be able to solve most of the problems. Anyways, that has been me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we're probably going to meet a new project next time. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.